Germany, I think it was the Turks that introduced it to Europe and other areas. So we're going way back there with a cup of coffee, yes.
So coffee has been around for
Oh, yes.
a
Yeah, a real
long,
staple.
long time.
The coffee bean, yep, that's right.
Now, coffee, as most people know, does not grow in Canada. Where does most of the coffee we drink come from?
Most of the coffee that we drink comes from South America. You can also get excellent coffee in the islands, Jamaica, Hawaii also, very expensive coffee, but I would say for the most part in Kenya, South America is where we get most of our coffee.
What types of coffee are popular nowadays in Canada? What types of blends, what types of coffee are popular?
Well, you know what I've found, and as we were saying earlier, the Canadian consumer is well educated and very interested in coffee. We're good coffee drinkers. We like good coffee. A Colombian coffee, which would be, you know, your better coffee. Canadians don't really go for the bargain as much. They want the better. Colombian coffee, Arabica would be the best bean. That is the highest grown on the mountain, Arabica. 100% Colombian would be an Arabica bean, not with fillers. Like a lower bean would be a Robusta. That's lower, we're going down the mountain now. But the top of the mountain is Arabica, 100% Arabica is what you want. And we treat ourselves well as Canadian coffee drinkers. We want a good cup of coffee.
And now there are different ways to make coffee. There are many different ways to actually brew it or perk it.
Well, yes.
What types of ways are popular nowadays?
Well, nowadays, compared to when you and I were growing up, and I think a lot of us can remember the percolator.
Oh yes, the old percolator that would bubble away.
Exactly, bloop bloop. Remember the commercials?
Bloop bloop, and it have to be turned over.
Exactly. Oh yeah, there was the double one too.
Manipulated in some very complicated way.
And that was quite the wedding gift in the 50s and even the 60s. A nice stainless steel percolator. But now we use a drip coffee, and I'm going to say most people are using a drip coffee system, and it's a machine wherein, and we're going to be making some a little bit later, that you pour the water in the back and you have a basket in the front, and the basket is either in the shape of a basket itself or in a cone-shaped filter, and either one of those, then the water drips through into the pot, and that's what you called a drip coffee maker. And I'm going to say 9 out of 10 Canadian homes have a drip coffee maker in some shape or form, and I'm willing to bet that you do, and I know I do as well.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and
right,
I didn't know that, but that's just the way we are, and it's a great way of brewing coffee. Yeah, fresh ground coffee if you can get it fresh ground. As Canadians, and this is very interesting compared to our American neighbors, we're not instant coffee drinkers. Now, are you an instant coffee drinker?
No.
No.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
And you know what? I'll pass if I'm at somebody's house and they say, "Well, I've just got instant." I'll have tea, or I'll have something else. It's
interesting.
Yeah. We're not.
Why is instant coffee so much more popular in the U.S. than in Canada?
Gee, what can I say? Is this show seen in the States? They just love it. Instant coffee was invented actually, or thought of, its inception was due to the war, to bring the soldiers a dried coffee, because you certainly couldn't brew it out in the fields where they were. So that it was invented originally as a war measure. And then they thought, we'll bring it back to the consumer, and the consumer accepted it, okay? And it is just a proven fact that in, I would say, over 70% of American homes, 65 to 70%, 70% really, you will find a jar of instant coffee someplace in a cupboard. You won't find that. The percentage is so much lower. This is a statistic in Canadians' homes because we don't drink it. We don't care for the flavor of it, whether it's freeze-dried or whatever it is. As a rule, we don't drink instant coffee. We make fresh coffee.
We make and perk our own.
Oh, sure we do. Perk it, brew it, whatever we do. We don't take it out of a spoon and add boiling water. Very rare.
How should people buy coffee? Where are good places to shop for coffee for people who are interested in experimenting a bit?
Yes, experiment. Yeah, and it's like an experience to go shopping for coffee. A lot of us now, and more, and the coffee shops that you see, the specialty coffee shops, are the proof that when people go shopping, they don't just, when they're throwing in a jar of mayonnaise, a can of coffee. Yes, they do, but they also treat themselves well. And they'll go to the coffee shops, which I recommend. And if you're really interested and you've treated yourself to a good coffee machine, go and you get buy the beans, have them ground, or perhaps grind them at home, and just get a quarter of a pound. Try something different. You don't want to spend $12 on a pound of coffee. You get it home and say, that's too strong for me. I don't like it, or that's not, I can't taste anything. Try a quarter of a pound of this, quarter of a pound of that, then get them to blend it, and then you're going to get just what you like. And I think it's much better to grind it in small quantities at a time, because then it doesn't oxidize as fast.
So should people purchase a coffee grinder and grind the beans themselves at home?
You can do either. I have a coffee grinder at home. I like it very much. It's fun, you know, if you want to buy some flavored beans, or, you know, it's an experience. If you're having company for dinner, you can grind the beans, and then right away you've created an aroma in the house. Lovely. And then you're making them some fresh coffee. You feel special. Your guests feel special. That's kind of nice. But if you don't have one, you can get it ground at your specialty coffee shop. If you'd like to buy one, here's my suggestion. Either buy a good one or don't bother. We have what I call bean bashers, and they just chop the beans up, and they'll also chop up your parsley and your nutmeg as well. Well, that's what I call a bean basher, and it just chops it. What you need is a machine that has burrs and really is a professional bean grinder, and you're going to spend over $100 for that machine. And if you don't want to do that, then don't buy one. Then get it done. Let the professionals do it. That would be my suggestion.
And how should coffee be stored in the house? What's the best way to store it?
Yeah. I keep mine in the fridge or freezer. If you're going to go away, I guess the freezer would be better. But if you're using it daily and you're buying it in small quantities, keep your container, whatever it is, in the fridge. And, you know, some people do keep it on the counter. But if you're taking it out daily and using a certain amount, I think that would be fine. I don't buy huge quantities of coffee anyway. I don't need to.
How long can coffee be kept at home usually before it for
Gets
optimal freshness? How long can coffee be kept, say, in a fridge or a freezer?
Well,
once it's ground, once the beans are ground.
Once the beans grind, it does start to oxidize, and especially fresh ground beans, you don't want to keep them, well, I would say a month, 2 months. If you go back to the cottage next summer and try to take out that coffee that you left on the counter, you know it's not going to taste the same. It won't be fresh anymore. Sometimes you can buy them, like Office Coffee Services have them in a nitrogen flush, and the bag feels sort of puffy. Well, if you get the flat bag, it means the nitrogen is out of it, and that coffee is going to be flat. It's going to be stale. So small quantities are my suggestion, and I wouldn't even dream of storing it for long periods of time. Nice and fresh.
So the message to people is to be adventurous.
Oh, yeah.
Go into a specialty store. Try 2 or 3 blends.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Yes.
Once in a while, go in and give yourself a real treat.
You know, it's an education too.
Oh, yes.
And I think people enjoy. I know I enjoy it, and we're going to enjoy some too. Yeah, that's what I would say to do. Go and learn a little bit more about it, and impress yourself, impress your friends.
Mix the coffee, blend them.
Absolutely.
Try to find something that is you.
Is you.
That is you.
And that's when when you can say to people, what kind are we having? Well, this is my favorite. This is what I enjoy. And you actually know what you're talking about. Oh, it's great. People in these stores are quite educated too. So pick their brains a little bit and learn from it. And it's really a nice learning experience too. Very interesting history. Interesting to know about coffee.
Well, then let's take a look at this coffee making machine then.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a cup of coffee together.
Let's go make it.
Oh, okay, let's do that.
Well, here we are in the kitchen, I guess.
Yes, it is.
And this is called a Sultan 3-in-1 coffee maker.
Very good. Yes, it is.
Available in better hardware stores and better kitchen stores everywhere.
That's right. That's right. And we do want to encourage our friends that are watching the show, if you have any questions, now we have some nice coffee recipes for you all, and any questions or queries about coffee, cappuccino, espresso, we're going to do a little bit of everything here. But if you need to know anything, we have a nice little package we can send out to you at no charge. So please write into us here, right here.
Right into us, yes, care of the community channel in Temiskaming.
Oh yeah, and because we do have something very nice. The folks at Salton really have a lovely package to send out, letting people know how to make cappuccino, what to do, where to look for the machine if you're interested in something like this, which I personally think is
Very nice.
great value, and it does everything for you. So 3-in-1, yes.
And it makes Canadian type coffee
Yes,
here.
and that's what we're going to do first, and it also makes the espresso and the cappuccino. So if I can just, I'm going to open this up for you and show you, Gordon, and show our friends at home as well. This one is the basket, which I've spoken about before, the basket filter, and I've put some nice fresh ground coffee in here, and I wish the folks at home could smell this, because it smells
Oh, yes,
wonderful.
that is good coffee.
Oh yes, well, oh yeah, well, hey, we're not going to skimp on that now. And you just close it in like that, and what I do is I take the filter and I fold it on the crease, so just so it sits nicely, because how disappointing, you've made your coffee and you find that the filter's flopped over for whatever reason. So just fold it on the crease and it'll sit nicely in there. Now, I've turned the machine on right now. Now the water goes in the back, okay, so you're going to fill the water up, and there is indications on the carafe. Fill it up, whether you want 2, 4, 6 cups of coffee, and you put the water in the back, the coffee in the top, put the pot down, and there you go. You're
And
all
it
set.
starts dripping through.
Oh yeah. We're going to see that amazing feat happen any minute now, any second now. So that is going to make your regular or Canadian
It's
coffee.
starting to hiss, and
Oh yes.
something is happening.
Something's cooking. Now in this machine, Gordon.
Coming in? No.
Yeah, well, in a second. In this machine, we have 2 tanks. All right?
That's for the water.
That's for the water, 2
Yes.
separate water tanks. And that's why we call it a 3-in-1. So you have your regular coffee here with 1 tank, and you'll notice that there's 2 buttons on the bottom here of the Salton 3-in-1 coffee machine. So I've just turned on the one to make regular coffee.
Oh, here it comes now.
Yeah.
Look at
See?
that.
And that was just seconds. Just a
Didn't
few
take very
seconds.
long.
No, not at all. Now, while that coffee is brewing, I'm going to show you the espresso and the cappuccino machine. And I'm sure you'll pardon my arm just reaching ahead there, but there. Now this is the little container, if you will, that I'm going to put the coffee in. Now if you like cappuccino, but you find that espresso coffee is too strong for you, don't worry. I've got a nice blend here, and we've agreed that it smells great.
Oh, it smells terrific.
Oh yeah. Now that is, I've put some espresso beans, and I've blended some Colombian coffee with it. But you can make espresso with regular coffee, and you don't have to get yourself climatized to a stronger coffee than what you're used to, okay? Now I want you to pack it in this way, watch closely, but as I say, we do have a nice brochure to send out to you. Now I'm gonna tap it down, just like that. Now, please take care to keep the sides clean. Now you see what I'm doing here? Just keep the sides clean so that it will fit nicely onto the machine. That's exactly what I want you to do. Now, instead of going like this, which is hit or miss, I take it from the bottom, all right? Now, lock it in, just like this.
So lock it in.
See? And there you go. Now, that's right. Now, you want that handle. Now, that's firm, isn't it?
It's firm, yes.
All
I
right.
can feel it
That's
ratcheted
right.
in almost.
But
like a
sometimes
ratchet.
people put it in and they think, oh, I've got it, and they don't. And you let go and
Plop.
so I have definitely got it.
We-
Now I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to take my little beaker. Now I want to point out ahead of time that I did put water in here and seal it. I filled the beaker and put the water in here. And now I'm allowing pressure to build up. So we're doing everything here right now. We're making regular coffee and we're making some espresso. Now while I'm waiting for that pressure to build up, and you'll see the coffee in fact coming out here as well. Now Gordon, I'm going to point out that with the Salton 3-in-1 coffee machine, you'll notice that this is not a hot plate. Espresso being a typically, see that's just part of the machine, because espresso is made to be served immediately. It's not like this coffee that sits, then you go back and have another and have another. You make it, you drink it.
So espresso is you
make
make
it, you drink
drink
it.
You don't linger.
That's right.
You don't linger and go back.
No,
and,
no, you go back, you make another one.
You make another one. That's
And you know, if, any of our friends, if you've gone to Europe and you order an espresso, hey, they go to the machine, boom, boom. They make you an espresso, they bring you an espresso.
yes, that is what
They've
they
only
do.
made
Come
one.
to think of it, yes.
Yeah,
and
that's
those
how-
small, what they call a demi-tasse often.
And that's what we have here
That's what
for
we
you
have here.
today
This
as
is a-
well. Now this is a demi-tasse cup and saucer, and we are going to be serving the espresso in that. Espresso, you don't want a mug full of espresso, trust me. You want a demi-tasse. And we're also going to make a cappuccino. Now the difference between the two is it's exactly the same. And also, I brought a great big mug for a cafe au lait. And you can do all those things with a Sultan 3-in-1. Cafe au lait, which is very popular in France and becoming more so here, it's hot milk. Okay, scalded milk, hot milk about halfway, espresso the rest, and that's cafe au lait.
Cafe au lait.
And actually, as you know, in Europe, they all drink coffee like crazy and start the children off at a young age. And you know how they start the children off? With a mug full of hot milk, like really milk, and then they'll put a tablespoon of coffee in, just to get them used to the flavor of coffee, can you imagine? And then as the kids get older, another tablespoon
more
and
coffee,
another
yeah.
tablespoon. And in Germany, it's called Kinder coffee.
Kinder coffee.
Kinder
That means
coffee.
child coffee,
That,
literally.
very good, your words, I know, that's right. So, you know, again, a nice history, a little note there to make it interesting. Now that, okay, look,
Oh, it's coming
here
through,
we
yes,
go.
here it comes.
And again, this is a great machine and very affordable machine from the Sultan people. They've thought of everything. I love making cappuccino, and a lot of people love having it in the restaurant. But do they really want to spend $400 or $500 on an espresso machine? I think not. Not really. That's what you find in the restaurant. But you know what? You can serve a perfect cup of cappuccino with a machine like this. And for your guests that would rather not, you've just made your regular coffee or perhaps decaf, whatever you like, espresso, and this little valve here. Now I'm going to come over here if that's all. Oh, stay. I'm going to feed you. I like having a man in the kitchen. Now this here, come on over here. This is the valve that makes the steam. All right, when people see cappuccino, now if you're not familiar, it's not whipped cream or anything like that. It is foamed milk. This is cold 1% or skim milk, and today I'm using a skim milk because you're foaming milk. I want to get that out of the way a little bit because I want our friends to see it. You're foaming milk. You're separating the protein from the fat is what you're doing. So anybody that takes this and puts whipped cream on top, that's not cappuccino.
So this is simply regular standard milk. This
That's
is
right.
not whipping cream or something exotic.
Now you see it's almost finished. I want you to watch me closely, folks at home, and I'm going to turn this dial.
And it injects air into the milk
Exactly.
to build up a head of foam.
That's where the word capo.
Cappuccino, I believe, is the
Yeah.
Italian word for head, is it not?
Yes, it is, and
It
that's
refers to the
top.
head of milk the head of foam really, that you add to the coffee.
Exactly right. That's right. Now, and that's the foam. And believe me, if you put it down too far, you're not going to. Once you've got the milk scalded, you're not going to get any more foam out of that milk. So don't do that anymore. What you're going to do is get it done very, very quickly. Very, very quick. Now here's your espresso. Okay, and I'll take that out because that's done now. Now that's the espresso. Very, very quick procedure. And that's basically how you serve it. And here's how the gentlemen like it. Just like that, give them their sugar, done. But if you want to make a cappuccino and to make sure you've got lots of nice foamed milk, pardon me for reaching over here, but you're going to take your coffee, take your espresso, and you'll use a bigger cup. You can actually buy special cups for cappuccino. And then, I've got a spoon here, and you take the foam from the top, and you hold all that foam back, and then you take the foam and you spoon it right onto the top. And I can even hear our other coffee cooking away there as well. Now when you're finished with that, you can put toppings on it, and that's how it's served in Europe. You can now I've got a little shaker here: cinnamon, nutmeg, chocolate, some sugar, flavored sugar. And what you do is just sprinkle a little bit on the top, whatever the people like. Okay, or chocolate shavings or cinnamon stick, perhaps. And there you go. And that is
This is cappuccino coffee, which is
yes.
espresso coffee with a head of foam.
Foam right
top.
on the top of it. That's right. So what we're offering today is three different. There's your espresso, and there's a lovely cappuccino for you. And you can put that milk back in the fridge and get it cold again and carry on from there.
And you can
Oh, yes.
continue to
Yep.
refoam it if necessary.
Oh, sure you
yes.
can.